Welcome to episode 3 of the Self Sunday Show, hosted by me, Oliver Jude. Today we are bringing you self-care from ND Creatives Resource Centre, formerly known as Tyrus Department Store on Bridge Street in my hometown of St Helens. The Self Sunday Show allows you an hour every Sunday to reconnect yourself, listen to self-love, self-care, self-belief, self-evaluation, self-reflection and self-success. We are halfway through the series and we are joined today by Diane Cannon, who is the Corporate Partnership Director of Melanoma UK.
Perfect.
Is that the perfect title?
That is such a perfect title.
Yay.
You said it well.
So you are here to talk everything self-care, looking after your skin, your top tips on how to live a healthy life. So thanks for all our listeners tuning in. So introduce yourself. Tell us everything about it.
Where do I start? So, okay. So my role is... the title Corporate Partnership Director seems very glamorous, doesn't it? And very, very important. But basically, we're such a small charity that it depends on what's going on in the day, what hat I'm kind of wearing. But my role, I suppose, I need to go back a little bit to tell you a little bit about me.
From the beginning.
Where do I start? Okay, I won't start when I was born. I won't go back that far. But just to give a little bit of context, I worked for 25 years at what was Alliance in Leicester, moved into being Santander. But just before it got taken over by Santander, I moved out and started my own business, which was a big, big leap of faith for me because 25 years in a corporate world was tough. And then you walk away and you think, right, okay, so at the time, I'm getting divorced. My mum was really ill. My dad had just not long died. And here I am giving up the most stable part of my life. But I needed to do it. And it is that bit about you've got to go with, your gut tells you so much. So I went, right, okay, I'm getting divorced. My house is going to sell. I'm going to have money. I'm going to travel. 2008, if anyone remembers this, who are listening and watching this podcast, 2008, we had the credit crunch. So my house did not sell. I had no money. But I set up my own consultancy business. And it was quite bizarre because what I then became was trying to help small businesses and medium-sized businesses get in ready for funding. So if there was any projects that they wanted to do, they'd come to me and say, can you help me write a business plan? Can you help me do this? We need to put this project plan together. And what started out as a little bit of me helping people out then became a full-on business. And I was like, oh, I like this. I really love this. But then it became so pressurized because we know each other, and I know we don't know each other so well, but what you've seen of me, I give everything I give it my all. So when you start your own business, just like you've more likely done with you throw everything at it. Yeah. If someone wants something, I don't go, oh, they're only paying me for this many hours. I go, that job, I'm going to do it to the best. And then what happens? People expect more from you. Yeah. So I did it, and I did it with my heart, and I loved it. The stress was there. The stress was there. I just didn't know what it looked like. But anyway, I was running 100 miles an hour, as we all do. And then what happened for me to get involved with Melanoma UK was my niece at the time, she was 38. She'd had a re-diagnosis of melanoma skin cancer. And for anyone who doesn't know, melanoma is the most deadliest form of skin cancer. So, and I will talk a little bit later on when we speak about skin, but she became really ill. I was running my own business, so I had the time to kind of take out to help her. And I became like a chemo buddy, shall we say, and I used to go to all the hospital appointments with her. If I didn't have my own business, I wouldn't have been able to have done that. But what happened was the business kind of was going down here. My pressures with my family were going up. Yeah. And then Claire, she passed away in the December, and I think I just went into free fall. It was, even you kind of think she was my niece, but she was really, really a good friend of mine. We were so close. Yeah. So what did I do? Threw myself into fundraising for the charity that I now work for. And it's really odd because I did 12 months of fundraising. I would throw myself off buildings. I would zip wire across the city. We did a bike ride to Poland. I mean, you name it, we did it. And you raise all this money, and it's great. But I thought, I remember the chief exec, Jill Nuttall, said to me, she calls me Doll. Doll, you're going to hit a brick wall. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a strong, independent businesswoman. I'm not going to hit a brick wall. I can cope. Boy, oh boy, it was like, bang. Without me even seeing it, I hit this wall, and I just literally, I basically collapsed. It was, I couldn't focus on the business. I was so worried about my family. I wanted to do more for the charity. It was just, everything got on top of me. And I decided then to start doing some more work. And it wasn't fundraising. It was about bringing my business skills to the charity.
Yeah.
And this is where I am. And I'm like now 5 years in. And people say to me, is this all you do? Is it just charity work? And I'm like, do you have any idea what is involved in being involved with a charity? So that's a bit of a long-winded way of me telling you how I got involved in such a charity that's really, really close to my heart. I think it's important for people to know what spurs me on, and it is the loss of my niece.
I think it's good as well that you're working with a charity and have experience. You're going into something that you're aware of, that you kind of know in a way.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we're not medically trained, but I think this is the thing. I love saying to people I'm involved with a charity that is close to my heart, but also anyone involved with Melanoma UK, we've all been touched by melanoma.
Yeah.
So, we may only be small in numbers, but we are so well respected, not just in the UK, but globally. I mean, I've done some amazing trips. It's awful because you're in a cancer setting, but you're going to see other people who are involved in the same thing, but all over the world. This problem is not just in the UK, although it tends to be taken more seriously in the hot countries because everyone just assumes skin cancer is because of heat. And you just wouldn't believe it, but we'll talk a bit more about that a bit later on.
Definitely. So we're going to jump into some questions.
Oh, God.
So tell me why self-care is so important.
Do you know, honestly, you've got to... I think self-care comes in different guises.
Yeah.
There's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
For me, I've always been the outgoing, quite lively, loud individual. And people don't see the vulnerable die that sits behind the scenes. So self-care for me, I live on my own. I've got a great family, but we've also gone through tough times with losing 2 sisters within 9 months. And I think if you do not have something you can tap into for yourself, it's going to cause you numerous problems going forward. I mean, my thing is I love music, I love dance. If I'm feeling really not in a great space, I whack the musical. Just I think to drown my own self-doubts out. Am I doing that right? Oh, I'm so stressed. And it's quite weird. I'm losing my voice today. Oh my God. You couldn't make this one up, Oliver. Everyone wants to push the pause button on my voice sometimes. So I've got up yesterday and gone, this is a trigger that I'm getting to the point where I need to slow down.
Yeah. It's your body talking to you.
The body talks to you so much.
Yeah.
Mine is voice, and it sounds really mad. I get itchy ears, itchy elbows. I mean, hello. Can the body not talk to me in a different way? Yeah. Itchy elbows, itchy ears, and lose my voice. What is that all about? But it's it is my trigger to say, calm down. Yeah. So I've come out this morning listening to ABBA, full blast. The neighbours know when Di is having a moment of self-care reflection because it's the music song. But I think it's really important to zone out and know what it is that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, throw the question back to you at what I know of you and how you've done what you've done. You must have times where you kind of, you're going to places that you don't like, but
all the time.
How do You know, your self-care will be different to my self-care.
Yeah, I think mine is more focusing on, in a way, it's focusing on the past. But so I always look back at everything that I've done and be like, oh my God, like, yeah. And that makes me feel good. And you kind of get that little insight to kind of give you the boost of like, yeah, if I can do any of that again, then I can go and I can get up. And
you know, people say, go for a walk, go for a jog. Listen, I'm being honest. If I went running, I've done the 5K before. That's the end of me. I am literally, put me on a trampoline or make me run, I'll wet myself. It's a fact. I'm here telling you now, don't tell me to go and have a run when I'm feeling a bit stressed. It just doesn't work for me. I love walking in the light rain. I love walking along the promenade by the Mersey. I love that. I prefer to do that than... And what I think people don't do, they push themselves into, well, they're running and they love it, so I'll go.
Yeah, stereotyping.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Do you know, think about what makes you happy. My family, the little ones in my family, ooh, they make me happy. I like handing them back. But I love the fact that they all call me Crazy Auntie Di. I mean, anyone who knows me knows I'm a bit crazy. They do. And, you know, I walked into my nephew's house the other day, and Ralphie, oh my God, he's nearly 3, going on like 33. He just goes like that and looks at the door. And when you see that, you go, oh, it makes me...
Yeah.
So that is another thing. Music, I love water, but if I'm ever feeling low, you know, the art of technology now, your FaceTime or your WhatsApp, just to see their happy little smiley faces. And I've got so many little ones in my family. So self-care, the importance of it is your health. It's not just mentally, it's also about physical health, you know. Let's not beat ourselves up about how we look and weigh, and no, what makes you feel good and makes you feel happy. So it's just important in an overall thing with your body, mentally and physically. Yeah,
definitely. I do agree with that one. And if we were to go back to the ABBA, what is your favourite ABBA song?
Oh, God. Dancing Queen. I was like, do you know what? I'm so rubbish at singing. But put me on a microphone. Sorry, we're not in a karaoke setting today.
No.
But yeah, Dancing Queen. Can't beat a bit of ABBA. Even Queen, it's just anything that's like, boom, boom, like high powered and get you dancing and singing. So yeah, love it.
So we will jump back into the podcast. So we are back with the Self Sunday Show with Diane Cannon, talking everything self-care. So let's talk about what made you want to help others look after themselves in the charity and life.
Yeah, I think, interestingly enough, I'd like to talk about a little bit more on life to begin with.
Yeah.
And I don't know who will be listening to this, but some people may know me, but I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I came out of business work after 25 years, and it was that bit about setting up my own business. But I've hit wall after wall after wall. And then a number of years ago, I thought I'd found the ideal job. I don't like calling it a job, because if you love what you do, it's not really a job.
Yeah.
And I went into a partnership with a very good friend at the time. And I thought, this is it. Oh my God, this is absolutely my life now. And then she tried to commit suicide, and she also got put away in prison for fraud. And I'm being dead honest now, Oliver, this is more than likely the first time I've ever openly spoken about that in all the... It actually is. It's only now, 7 years later, 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm able to talk about it, because I couldn't. Because I was in this business that I put all my heart into. Yeah. To have someone who I've known for 15 years try to take her own life because she'd committed fraud. And I was in the business.
Yeah.
And it was like, and people go, you can't talk about it. So I never spoke about it. But that was the mask of Di. That was Di having to wear a mask and not being able to talk openly to people about my trauma of my life, because again, they see Di buzzing, laughing, joking. No, die sitting in a corner in a friend's bedroom, not knowing what my life was going to be like. You know, I've never thought about taking my own life or anything like that, but I was as low as low could be. And my oldest friend, who now lives in Australia, who I miss dearly, she came into the bedroom and got a hold of me, picked me up, because I was literally cowering in the corner. And she said, "You are one of the strongest women I know. Get up now." And I was like, I can't go out. My professional, you know, in Liverpool, and anywhere you live, it's such small communities, and especially from a professional environment, my professionalism was me. If I thought anyone was looking at me in a bad way, honestly, I'd walk into a room and someone would look and I'd think, they're talking about me. They're talking about me.
Yeah.
I'd never been like that. So it's taken me a long time to get over that one. And, you know, she went to prison and it all came out. I kept I would say, I still remain professional right the way through, even though she was casting doubt and blame on me. And it's quite interesting, because when you're involved with a company for 2 months, that was all, and you uncover all these things, it really did take a toll on me mentally. And I think this is where my trigger came from. The loss of voice, the itchy ears. It was like, what is this doing? And it was my doctor who says, this is stress. This is stress on another level. You know, your stress will be different to someone else's. So, and I tell that story because the biggest thing that I learned was, if you need to talk to people, you need to open up, because you cannot keep it all in. Your body's it's gonna reject that negativity, that toxic information that you're feeding yourself. That someone says, "Oh, you can't talk about that. You can't talk about that. Fraud." What?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it didn't involve me, but I felt like, because I've been told not to say anything. And now, you know what? Without my friends and my family around me, I don't know what I would have done. But I am so much stronger now, stronger than I've ever been. It's like I could take on anything after that. Losing my niece it was like I'd been stabbed in the heart when I lost her. This was a different kind of hurt. It was a betrayal of a very, very good friend. And I don't know, I'm sure you've been betrayed by people, even in your young life. You know, I'm sure you have. But it's that bit about, how do you get back up off that floor? It's like I've got physically, if I'm feeling down, in my head I've got my best friend in Australia picking me out that corner and going, "Get up, get off that floor and get out there." And that's exactly what I did. And you know, there's part of me that thinks back and think, that comment about what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Boy, oh boy, total advocate for that sentence, because it really is hard hitting, especially if you've been in a dark place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your listeners have been in dark places and can relate to it. I mean, you've more than likely had your own with what you've gone through in your life, in your young life.
Definitely. And now at 17, I'm still here, still strong.
17? When did we meet? You were 15? Was it
14 maybe.
Oh, big ambitions, big dreams. I loved seeing you that day. I loved it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was a really, really good meeting.
Oh, so good. I even paid for the coffee. You get me to come for a business meeting. I'm giving you all these handy hints and tips, and I have to pay for the coffee. What's that all about?
I was only starting out.
It was great. It was absolutely great. I love seeing how you've grown.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
It's
to
been
have you
an
on the
amazing
journey.
time. Well, I'm on your podcast. I can't believe it. With a fairy mic. I love that. I've always wanted to do
profession.
This. But so that's a big part of my life. I think the bit about helping others. I remember there was not many people outside my circle of friends and family. There wasn't many people there for me. But I always go, do you know what? I never want to see someone in my position. Never.
Yeah.
And I don't have much. I don't have much to give, but you know what? I've got a happy life now. And if someone's down, and you kind of sense it when someone around you is a little bit off. And I don't like to think I'm quick to jump into, well, they're having an off day, what's wrong with them? It's kind of, what's going on behind that? Because I was kind of there, and you don't delve, but you go, I'm here for you if you need me. And sometimes that's all that's needed. Working for the charities is a really interesting one, because there are so many people who have got this awful disease, from early staged melanoma to advanced metastatic melanoma, which is where the skin cancer that started in one place has now gone to other parts of your body, other organs. So we've got people who are dying, and yet some of them are so happy. They just live life, and it's like they're not existing. They're kind of going for it, doing walks, going up mountains, doing all these things that they really, really want to do. And I kind of just think, if I can do some little bit to help them, I'll do it. I'll help anyone. Yeah. I really will.
We know, you help everyone.
Oh,
every time we see.
But that's another thing for self-care. Learning to say no. Yeah. Because someone told me my aura is huge, but you've got to close it down a little bit every now and again. And, whether you believe in it or not, I love the holistic side of things. Reiki, and I feel good when I've been to kind of sessions like that. Yeah. But when someone said to me, whoa, Di, you can see around, your aura is huge, but people will take from that. So they drain your good energy. And you're not being selfish, you're just being a little bit self-aware by going, lock down
self-aware,
your aura,
though, self-aware, not selfish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know that came to me on one of I had a business importing handcrafted giftware, interestingly enough, in St. Helens, right? In Tyra's, this old building.
No way.
I used to supply jewellery that had been handcrafted from Kenya. Can you believe? And here I am sitting today.
Full circle.
Full circle now. And what happened, I was on a flight going over to Nairobi, and I was sat with a Kenyan gentleman who was here, and he was a diplomat going over to work. And we were chatting and talking, and he said about children. And I said, no. People think I'm a bit selfish because I chose not to have children. And he said, Diane, you're not selfish. You are just very self-aware. And I went, I love that. I said, because there's a big difference.
Yeah, massive.
And I honestly, I've lived in that. I've been brought up with that. Don't be so selfish. And you kind of, okay. Yeah. Don't be so selfish. And
but then you feel guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't. And I always remember that guy saying to me, no, you're not selfish. You're very self-aware. And I thought, I'm having that one. Yeah. So if someone says to me, that's a little bit selfish, isn't it, Diane? I go, no. I'm just very self-aware. I know what I want, and I kind of know what I don't want as well. So yeah, I would help anyone, but I continually need to remind myself to lock down the aura and just say no, not. It's just not right now.
Not now.
I'll do it. Because you kind of, coming out of that really bad experience with my business partner, I wanted to please the world. When I came away from that, I wanted to please the world, and you go, now it's like, well, I'll help, but I can't do it for a few days, or I can't do it for a week. And you know what? I'm worth waiting for. I always say that, again,
massively that.
I am so worth waiting for. And hopefully people are going, oh, you weirdo. But no, if you don't value yourself and your own time.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, guys, we've only had 2 questions and I'm...
No, this is like everything that we need. This is everything that people want to hear. People want to hear real life, authentic.
Hope. And I think sometimes you do get people on, they tell you what you want to hear, and I just go back to you've got to go back and back and back and really, really delve deep to some of the most hard-hitting emotional places for you to even come out and go, what does self-care look like for me? Yeah. That's why I'm saying everyone's different. What I do will be different to anybody else. Yeah. But it's so important, super important for, again, as I say, mentally, for you to get on and Go and do the things you really, really want to do. I'm 55 in January, and I kid you not, I am not finished. You know, my work is not finished with this world. It's going to go on. I will just do. I want to be a trailblazer. My niece said to me the other day, she said, what would you like to have happen, your legacy? And I went, I want to have a ward somewhere in a hospital or a hospice named after me, but not because of the connotation to cancer and whatever, the connotation to joy and laughter and giving hope to people. And that might sound a little bit, hey, listen, that's on my to-do list now. Yeah. It will happen somewhere, even if it's a cupboard. It's the cupboard of hope. Diane Cannon's cupboard of hope. So there you go.
Brilliant. So tell us more then about melanoma and what it is.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realise what melanoma is. A lot of people don't realise what skin cancer is.
Yeah.
So you've got skin cancer is literally what it says. You will 9 times out of 10 you will potentially find a mole or a lesion somewhere on your body that you just don't like the look of, right? And I say 9 times out of 10 we have got melanoma patients who have not had a primary mole. So, and it's been found in another way, maybe, you know, on a blood test, or they've just generally been unwell. So, but generally skin cancer will form in a lesion. So we've got a few ways of looking at it. So you've got a BCC, which is a basal cell carcinoma. So this is what I've had. So although my niece died of melanoma, and the way I'm building up here is the basal cell carcinoma is normally not life-threatening. So I've had them removed all over. I've just had one removed off my nose, so a big graft down the side of my face, and they've taken, like I would say, the size of a little fingernail, a hole out your nose, and you would know it to look at me. Yeah. This is just how amazing our NHS is, the plastic surgeons, on how they can do this, you know. Instead of them walking around with a hole in my nose, they just take a piece of skin from there and graft it. Now, it didn't look very nice when it was done, but bit of makeup, you know, it's done, it's fine. The point is, though, I knew what I was looking for. It just didn't look right. It's a little spot, a little tiny spot. And I thought, So basal cell carcinoma is just look for things that you just wasn't there before. You know, like a few months ago, it just didn't look right. A mole, scabby lesion. There's a rule called the ABCDE. So it's interesting. A is for asymmetrical. So if you've got a mole and you went halfway down the middle, does it look the same either side, right? Then you've got B for border. What does the border look? Is it nice and like round, or is it a bit jaggedy? Then you've got C for colour. So what you're looking for is it's the colours, because people go, is it brown? Is it pink? Is it raised? You've got all these things. What's the diameter? Is it growing? So the other rule is that, you know, the end, you know where the rubber is on the end of a pencil? Yeah. Yeah. Use that as a marker to go, is it as big as that? If it's bigger than that, you need to go and get it checked out. And then you've got E, which is evolving. Is it growing? And the E also stands for experts, because you don't know what you're looking at. So just if anything you're unsure of, go and see a GP. And you must say to the GP whether anything runs in your family, because also that can have, you know, genetically, it's run through my family. My dad, my 2 sisters, one of my brothers, me, obviously my niece. So you need to remember what to say to a GP, because they don't know everything. You know, a GP is a general practitioner, so let's not beat them up. Yeah. Go own it and say, I'm not happy with that. Can you send me to a skin cancer specialist? Then you've got a squamish cell carcinoma, which is an SCC, very similar to a basal cell carcinoma, but you can get them quite ulcerated. So older people tend to get ulcerated skin cancers. They leave them. They don't go and get it checked out. And then you've got the big one, the melanoma. Now, the melanoma is, again, it can be removed. Normally, surgery is the way to go. But with melanoma, if you don't catch it early, it can spread. So whereas the others are sitting kind of on your skin, this can go deeper and deeper. And then if it goes deep enough, the cancerous cells will then go to other parts of your body. Now we're talking lungs, liver, your brain, they metastasize, so that's what they're literally spreading. So the importance here is catching it early. So I urge people, if you see something, go and get it checked out. Don't let it grow. Just go and get it checked out. 20 minutes in the GP could save your life. What I would say, though, knowing the A, B, C, D, E as I do, because I live with melanoma in that setting, it's a little bit easier for me. And I kind of go, how do people remember A, B, C, D, E? You know, I know it's like going back to school, but how do we help? So we've recently launched a partnership with a company called Skin Vision. And it's an app on your phone, and you literally, this is it. So any of your listeners, they want access to this app. Normally there's a cost to it. I am giving it, your first 50 people, if there's 50 people who'll email you, I'll get them access to the app. So the app is normally £50. And you download it on your mobile phone. It's a smartphone device, and you take a picture on your phone, and instantly within 30 seconds you will get, it's not a diagnosis, but what it will do is it will say what the risk value is of that mole or that lesion. Artificial intelligence, you know, through COVID we've had to embrace technology. So this is not for everyone, but it picked up my lesion on my nose because I manipulated the app, and I was going, I wonder what it'll tell me, because I already knew it was skin cancer, but I thought, I'm going to see what the app says. So I took a picture, and the artificial intelligence straight away came back and said, characteristics of skin cancer, you need to go and get it checked out. And I thought, okay. 2 days later, because it was high risk, one of the there's like a pool of dermatologists who look at all the images every day. Can you imagine that job? Looking at images coming through. And they wrote to me and said, we really want you to go and see a GP. They don't tell you that you've got skin cancer, but if the app's telling you one thing to say, you've got characteristics, and then you've got a qualified dermatologist looking at your image and then goes, please make sure you follow this up. Yeah. It's kind of giving you a bit of a trigger to say, go and get it checked out. And the interesting bit here is, in the UK, we have brilliant dermatologists, but we have so few. So we've got something like one dermatologist to every 100,000 people in the UK. So it's not, you know, we need more derms. So this app is not to remove their role. This app is to say, take ownership of your body and go and see an expert and say, you know what, it's been seen by someone. Now I need to see one of our derms, our doctor in the UK. So it's phenomenal, this app. The amount of melanoma patients, listen to this, who've emailed me and said, because we've gifted the app to our melanoma patients who are in our kind of community, and within a day 2 melanoma patients messaged me, and one said, I thought the app was rubbish because it told me to get checked. When I went to the GP told me it was nothing to worry about. 3 months later, the app tells her, have you checked this out? She goes back to see the GP. It's a different GP, and the GP sends her to get checked, and it's a melanoma on her stomach. So the point I'm making here is, take ownership. It's not the GP's responsibility to go, I think that's, because if they don't specialise in skin, they don't know they don't know everything. So monitor your body, map your body. It's got a full body mapping system. So you can point where you've got an area, take a picture. If it says keep an eye on it, that's fine. A month, 2, 3, whatever way you do the settings, it'll come back and say, check the mole again. And what it'll do is it'll measure it. Is it grown? So it's taking all the hard work out. I still love my ABCDE ruling. I still love talking about it, but the app actually does it for you. So So any of your listeners, if they email you, I will then send a link out to, 100%. As long as they don't mind sharing their email with me. But basically, I need to know who it is downloading it. But So
100%. That's like massively to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the younger generation, by the way, I want some of the youngsters getting on it because, you know, using sunbeds and really not knowing what to look for. You know, let's think about it, you know. We get taught how to check for breast cancer, you know, check your breasts. Men for testicular cancer, you know, you kind of know these big things, yet skin is the largest organ of your body and we don't check it. Yeah. Or if we do, we don't know what we're looking for. And that's okay as long as you're doing a quick check. As I said before, I live on my own, so I get my sister to just take a photograph of my back. Don't get me wrong, I've had skin cancers removed, but I know, because of my body map, I know where I've got any moles, and if there's any new ones, I'm straight back to the hospital, and they'll check it for skin cancer. So yeah, my body's like a road map at the minute. There's that many bloody scars on it, cutting bits out. I'm sure the surgeon's like, you back again? But I prefer to have scars than you know. Yeah. I mean, melanoma, it's a killer. My damage has been done from a young age because I did use sunbeds, and when I was young, I was thankfully fortunate to go to holidays in Europe, but you know, we just didn't have sunscreen back then. If anything, if you look at this, and it's quite an interesting one, the sunscreen that used to be out there, it was so low. But it was all about how brown you went. So everyone was like that. They still are.
Like physically burning.
Burning. Yeah. It's like you can smell. Do you like the smell of burning flesh? You want to be on an operating table, because when we're having skin cancer cut out, all you can smell is the burning flesh where they like, you know, what do they call it? Solder. I don't think they solder like your skin, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So just put it back together. Now I go, smelling burning skin on a sunbed, or do you want to smell burning skin on a operating table?
Yeah. Oh. So true.
So that's so melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer, and it is the 5th killing cancer in the UK.
Wow.
And we forget that. You know, and men are sadly it hits men more than it hits women, because men are outdoors. You know, they don't wear sunscreen, they don't wear protective clothing. That's another thing, you know, protective clothing is so important. You know, if you look at a t-shirt and you put it up to the sun, if you can see through it, you're not getting any protection. Yeah. If anything, it's like 5% protected, if that. So I will wear SPF, sun protection factor, every day, even in the winter. And I think what people forget is sun, it's not the heat of the sun, it's UV, it's the UV radiation. So everyone goes, oh, the sun's out, put my sunscreen on. And then when it's a bit cloudy, people go, don't need it. You do. It gets through clouds, it bounces off concrete, it can bounce through off glass. You've got, you know, if you're in the water, it'll reflect off water. So you've just got to be so careful. But I'm a true advocate of sun protection factor every day. Some people think it's mad, but it's a great habit to be in. Coming back to self-care, that is a great way, and that makes me feel happy because I know I'm protected.
Yeah. So how does melanoma help patients look after themselves then? So, for example, a patient that's gone, they've got a diagnosis of melanoma, and then what? So, what
happens next? Then we're meant to be. So Melanoma UK, although we are a charity, we are a patient advocacy group, and it's slightly different because that's exactly what we're there for. Patients who have just been diagnosed with melanoma, and they come in different stages. So you can have stage 1 to 4, and it doesn't matter where you are on the journey with your melanoma diagnosis. We're there for you, and I'll tell you how we're there for you. But it's just not patients as well, because think about me. I was a carer for my niece. Yeah. So we also want carers, family, friends, because you don't know what to say. When someone's had a melanoma diagnosis, you're like, huh? What is melanoma? Yeah. And then you start listening, and then we hear people say, well, it's just skin cancer. You can just cut it out, can't you? And, you know, with other forms of cancer, they will understand this as well, because you know, you can't go around wearing a t-shirt going, I've got cancer. You might not be able to see it, but I've got cancer. So, you know, so people should not just assume when someone says I've got melanoma and then they go, oh, skin cancer, just cut it out. Well, no, you can't. People living with the disease, they could be on targeted treatments. They could be feeling the side effects of, you know, fatigue. People sitting on a bus would more than likely not appreciate that there's a person sat down in one of the, you know, the chairs that you would like save on a bus for someone who is disabled. Yeah. And we're talking disabled, like, oh, they're in a wheelchair, or they've got something wrong with their leg. No, when you don't know that you're seeing a cancer patient coming in and they've just gone through treatment and they are feeling wiped out, they can't stand up. It's that bit about don't be so quick to jump when someone is sitting there and, you know, they may just not be well and they may be dealing with cancer. So what we try and do, overall educate, but when a patient comes to us, we listen, we chat, we do this stuff, we just talk about, it could be about the melanoma, it could be about they're not telling their family, you know, going back to what I was saying before, these patients are keeping things to themselves. Yeah. It's giving them internal anxiety, more stress. And we're like, tell your family. I don't want to. Okay, well, if you don't tell your family, then you need to talk to someone. So let it be us.
Yeah.
Through COVID, we set up a bit of a scheme because a lot of our patients were highly vulnerable. They couldn't get out, especially if they lived on their own. So we did a little bit of our ambassadors kind of all got together. So wherever they were across the UK, we said if there's any highly vulnerable patients who need shopping or need the dog walking, let us know. And if we can buddy you up with someone, we will. And that proved so successful. I mean, it kind of, you know, we're not there anymore. We don't need to do that. But what we have to do is other things. So each week we do it's like me, although I haven't got one of these fancy mics. We do a podcast, a webinar, whatever you want to call it. And every Thursday night at 8 to 9, we have our patients come on the call. We could have 25, we could have 55, we could have 1. It could be just me if I was sitting there talking to myself. But our patients love it. They love the fact that it's only 1 hour. But that 1 hour, they forget that they've got melanoma.
Yeah.
They laugh. I tell them all crazy things what I get up to, but they love it. Because I say, you know, I don't want you thinking that I'm making light of anything, but I don't want melanoma to, you know, that's not you. If you want to laugh and you want to joke, laugh and joke. And if you feel comfortable in this setting, do it. We had one patient on the call he joined us a few months ago. A guy up in Scotland, I love him. And his wife messaged me and she said, he's found his people. I've never heard him laugh like that since his diagnosis. Oh, I was just emotional. I was gone. The tears were tripping me because I think, if we can do that for one patient, I know it's only one person, but can you imagine a really vulnerable patient not knowing how to speak to people? So that's what we do for our patients. We are there at the end of a phone. We're 24/7 on the phone, but we do these webinars, which did only start out at like a 6. We said, let's do it for about 6 weeks. Let's see how they go. They're now booked in for next year. It's like, it's a constant, it's a regular thing now. But Melanoma UK, oh my God, we build big projects. We work on big educational programs to, you know, we don't want people to get to melanoma. We don't want people coming to us because that means that they've got melanoma. Yeah. So it's that bit about the early education. Now, next year we're doing a massive skin health program with Skin Vision. So watch out, we're going to be taking the UK by storm. We're going to be travelling. Because the great thing about that is we can travel right across the UK, bring this app to anyone who's interested in skin and checking for things, and we can just dot around the country because we've got to get out and take this message to people as opposed to waiting for them to find us. Yeah. We also do a lot with the hospitals, so the skin cancer nurse specialists in any of the skin cancer hubs across the UK. If a patient goes in there, what we're doing now is we're going to arm the skin cancer nurses with as much information that we can support patients with, because they see the patient and they feel awful letting the patient go. Wouldn't it be better if they said, come and speak to Melanoma UK, specifically about melanoma?
Or leave with all this information and resource.
Yeah. And who doesn't want to talk to Di? Go and talk to Di Cannon. She'll keep you happy. She'll keep you entertained.
No one could say no, literally, at all.
We do a lot more than that. But I think if people want to know what we get up to, it would be good. You know what? I'd love more followers on social media and, sign up for our newsletters and stuff. We're always doing things. Instagram and Facebook are really, really, really active.
I think the app as well would be really good within schools.
Exactly.
Kids love technology and iPads.
They love it.
Yeah.
A little notification, have you checked your skin? And you think, well, I haven't got anything to worry about, or I don't see anything new. Fine, move on. It's that prompt. So, and I would love to do some more on that, because I think that's the generation we need to get at. We need the old. We need to get old generations, but the youngsters, they're
that early step.
Yeah.
Early education.
We've just been invited to Croydon, a big college in Croydon, to do a sun safety chat, and it's quite interesting because I go, it's kind of not just all sun safety; it's everything. It's UV. It's the whole thing, and in the last year we've done a host of webinars with the thing about Zoom and what we're doing. It's great because you can take the presentation to a massive audience. So this is an open, if there's anyone listening who wants, especially next year is going to be a big year for us. If anyone wants support and wants to get the message out, I'll be there for you. There is only me doing this, so, and it comes back to that, can you say no? Well, no, I might be able to not do it at the time that they want it, but I will certainly schedule something in. It's great. Honestly, I think these educational programs that we're doing is going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I'm there for you. Anyone listening? I'm there for you.
Yes. So tell us more. I've saw some things on social media about a charity shop.
Ooh, it's so exciting.
Some little stores. Yes, so tell us more.
God. Well, because of the size of our charity, it's an interesting one, this. So we've got a head office in Oldham. Anyone who knows Shaw in Oldham, so that's where our chief executive is based. We've got a couple of administrative people there who do all because we've got an online shop, so everything gets sent out and all the admin things that go with it. And then I'm obviously in Liverpool. So I'm like the roamer. I roam all around the country. Pre-COVID, I was like, so Jill would say, we need to do this. And I'd go, yeah, I'll go. And we do a lot of work with pharmaceutical firms, so big pharma companies. And they're always wanting information. So Jill's back in Oldham. I'm in Liverpool or wherever. And it was a pretty big office that we had. And then one of our family members, I suppose, she'd had a job, and then she went, we should do a charity shop. We've never been able to do this because we just haven't been big enough.
Yeah.
So what we've done now is we've literally put 3/4 of the office as a shop, and it's on Market Street in Oldham, and it's launching on the 12th of October, and we're so excited. So Kim, who is going to be running it for us, she's done it so lovely, because the way charity shops are, you just go in and sometimes there's just like loads of things thrown in.
Yeah.
She's done it really quite like a little bit of a boutique one. So it's our first. Can't say when we're going to do another one, but as I say, it launches on the 12th of October. We're just finding our feet on how to send things in, because I think the local area are going to be so supportive of this, of the charity shop. But, going forward, we see bigger and better things for this. Not huge, but it helps us. It's another way of bringing a revenue stream in.
Yeah.
By having people donate. They want to help us, but sometimes they haven't got the money to help us. So we always say, pledge your support in other ways, whether that's the charity shop sending us, gifts, knickknacks, whatever it is. And so many people are like, I've got stuff for you. So it's a great way. We always say, it's not, so the charity shop launches the 12th of October. That is going to be a great way to support us. And again, keep involved. People seeing us on social just as you have.
And that physical appearance as well of bringing a physical image.
So it's going to be brilliant. It's really going to be brilliant. Thankfully, Kim is running it because you would not want me in the charity shop. I swear to God, I'd be like giving things away. So I'm glad she's taking over the responsibility because I'd be like, oh, go on then, you can have that.
So we've covered pretty much everything from top tips of self-care to melanoma and the charity. So to kind of wrap up, if there's any guidance that you could give to people for top self-care, and I feel like we've covered this, but what would it be?
Yeah, I think it's know what it is that makes you tick, makes you smile. People have a thing about happiness. What is happiness? Money doesn't make you happy. Food doesn't make you happy. All that. So what makes you smile? Because I think that is just such a powerful thing. I'm not afraid to say I've got little wrinkly lines here because I have always got a smile on my face, always smiling. So self-care, find out what it is that makes you tick. Mine, as I say, mine's music. I love dancing, but the biggest thing for me is my family time, especially with the little ones. They just make me laugh out loud, and that's it for me. But whatever is for you, jogging, walking, get grounded, come back out of the manic. We're all running around like lunatics at the minute. We put everything into work. Step out a little bit and just take a 5 minute, even if it breathes. Listen, my watch told me to breathe the other week. Because
mine does all the time.
And I love that but it proves to you that you're just running 100 miles an hour. Just go, whoa. It says get up and do a little bit of exercise. I want to kill it sometimes because I go, I'm on a webinar. Stop telling me to throw my hands up in the air. But the point is, it's like, there's not one size fits all. Just find out what it is that makes you smile.
Feel good. Yeah.
Gives you, look after your gut. The second brain, look after your gut. And I don't mean go and throw a load of pies in there. I mean, look after your gut and do the things that make you feel good all over.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I massively appreciate it.
I want to come back. There's so much.
Hope to have you back on soon.
Can I come back next year in May when it's our Melanoma Awareness Month?
1,000%.
And I'll give you top tips.
Yes.
How to protect your skin. And
definitely.
Yeah.
We'll get you involved in another series.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.